The Red Sox coming up large yesterday against the Detroit Tigers. What a game. So the Red Sox beat the Tigers 6-5, walking it off in the bottom of the ninth inning. But the big blast, a grand slam in the eighth, David Ortiz is just Mr. Clutch. And there's going to be statues all over Boston of David Ortiz when he finally decides to call it a career. He was outstanding yesterday, and Torrey Hunter almost broke his neck trying to come down with that ball and almost did catch it going over the wall in right field. But a great game. It's been a great playoff season so far in Major League Baseball. Jon Couture joining us now from the Boston Herald. John, happy holiday Monday to you. What a game yesterday at Fenway. And like I said, I mean, what can you say about David Ortiz and just some of the moments he's come up with in the playoffs in his career?
I don't know if you can really put it into words at this point. First, happy Thanksgiving to you all up there.
Thank you.
But
happy Columbus Day.
Thank you. I also don't really know what we're celebrating today, but it's a holiday. So
yeah.
That's really all that matters. Ortiz has just, it was funny last night to look at him talking after the game. I don't know if you saw any of the video. He had his son D'Angelo with him on the podium, and D'Angelo had just been born when all this started for Ortiz. 03, 04, we've been seeing this for 10 years, and he was not, no one on the Red Sox was really having a very good series, obviously, up to the eighth inning of that game. But Ortiz kind of looked pointedly struggling. He was check swinging. He seemed very confused. He talked after the game about how the Tigers are really attacking the Red Sox a little bit differently in this series. Both Anibal Sanchez and Scherzer kind of been emphasizing their sliders a little bit, and the Red Sox haven't been able to catch up. So as much as you know what Ortiz is capable of, you don't look at that spot and say, oh, he's going to take the first pitch and he's going to rip a splitter down and away into the Red Sox bullpen. But, this is a guy that we doubted 2-3 years ago. We thought maybe he was done. He struggled out of the gate. He couldn't hit lefties. And, here we are again. And it's a team that has just continued to find a way again and again and again, basically, saving their season last night.
Yeah, it really would have been tough for this team if they had lost the first two games at home of the ALCS. So David Ortiz definitely had to come through in that spot. And at some point, he's going to stop coming through. He's 37 years old, but I just don't know when that time comes. It looks, there's been glimpses in the past where, he's been benched and Terry Francona moved him down the lineup and he couldn't hit lefties. You mentioned it at times, but he just keeps battling through it. And you look at the numbers he put up this season, hitting .309. He had an on-base of almost 400 at .395, hit the 30 home runs, 103 RBIs. It's amazing what this guy just continues to do at age 37. It's ridiculous.
It's funny to consider that this past winter, Ortiz has been playing on one-year contracts for several years, and every year he's griped about wanting a 2-year deal, wanting to get that, quote, respect from the Red Sox. And Ben Cherington finally decided to give it to him, despite the fact that he really only played half the year last year and that he spent most of the winter battling, these Achilles problems, these problems with his heels, that he didn't really have a spring training. He didn't break camp with the team. Nobody thought, there was some concern about the contract anyway, whether it was a motivational thing, playing for a one-year deal was helping him excel, but whether he'd even be able to play on a regular basis this year. And there was some concern in the beginning of the year he was going to need to rest a little bit, but as the season has gone on, whatever he is doing to get himself onto the field and to get himself, to continue to produce, it's worked. And it's worked to an extent that I don't think anybody here could have, even knowing what Ortiz has done, what anybody here could have expected.
John, before we go on further and talk about this series, this just a thought occurred to me, and it is an interesting thought. And it's still, we're not at the end of David Ortiz's career, so who knows? He could continue to play at this level for another 5 years. Who knows, until he's 42. But you look at the numbers, and yes, his career got started off slowly because the Twins wanted him to go to the opposite field. That didn't work out too well, and then he goes to Boston, and everything blows up for him. But you look at the numbers, he doesn't quite have, he's 431 home runs in his career, career 287 hitter. Do you think this is a guy right now, if his career ended after the season, some injury happened in the playoffs, or he was unable to come back next season, would he be in the Hall of Fame in your mind?
Right now, I would say no. That's been my long-standing answer. I've had debates with other writers, with fans about this for 4 or 5 years. I don't think he is, as much because the DH is not still respected enough to get that sort of high. I mean, look at Edgar Martinez, who has, his numbers. We can certainly debate his numbers, but he's been, I think, at 35 or 36% for Hall of Fame 4 years in a row. Ortiz has helped because he obviously has the tremendous playoff pedigree that he continues to add to. He plays in Boston, which we saw what it did for Jim Rice's candidacy a couple of years ago, that sort of East Coast bias that is still out there.
Yep.
I think he's getting closer. And I think if you listen to him talk, he still loves this. He still loves getting ready for the games. He can still produce. So if he does stick around 2 or 3 more years, maybe he becomes the sort of standard bearer for the DHs, and he becomes the guy that gets in, whereas it looked like Edgar Martinez was going to be that guy. So I would still say no, but my mind is sort of slowly changing bit by bit.